we want to be able to parameterize these things as part of the material input inside of our blueprint, so that we can give ourselves nice little sliders and stuff for our little noise generation object. So we can have our cake and eat it too, kind of. This be min.compile. Compiler. So I don't know if this is even a good idea, because basically if anybody at Unreal updates the noise input, expression at any point, I'm gonna have to resolve all the frickin' merge conflicts for it and get it working. But you know what? Who gives a shit? I'll just duplicate it if that happens. I'll just have like noise 2. Just be like, screw it. That's always a good idea to have. A good attitude to have. Just this doesn't work. The hell with it. Alright, if repeat get traced input, expression. So I would like to make this a blueprint thing. I think it'll be able to work. So we'll see if I can actually use that inside of a blueprint. Who knows? Alright, let's compile it out. Alright, so let's boot this thing up, and we're going to set up our blueprints so that our blueprints can pass in all this garbage into our shader, so we can do fun things with it. Alright, so for our noise generator, let's figure out what variables we actually need. So we're going to need some more variables, and we'll have these, the category will be generation. Same thing with this guy, category will be generation. Alright, so we're going to need a scale, which is going to be a float. We're going to need a turbulence. This is going to be a Boolean. We're going to need a levels. This is going to be an int32. We're going to need a min value, which is a float, and a max value, which is a float. Let's spell that a little bit correctly. Alright, we're going to need a tile, which is going to be a Boolean. Let's actually throw those booleans next to each other. So we're going to have a repeat. What the hell is for repeat for? Repeating size, okay. So repeat size, which is going to be an integer. We're going to need quality. Quality is int. Alright, then we're going to have levels. Fast but little detail, larger levels cost more. Alright, quality and then levels. We already have levels. This is level scale. Alright, level scale is efficient use of low. Alright, level scale is kind of garbage, so level scale is float. And then noise function will be a we're gonna have noise type, and that'll be the first variable in the list. And that's gonna be a. Do we have noise function as an actual parameter? No. Alright, well, we'll compile and save this, and then I need to mark up this thing as blueprintable. So what's the markup for this? Okay, it's just blueprint type. Just like that. Well, let's close it all down. And then compile that back out. Just looking at what Adam's doing. He's working on grass and everything now. I really like the look of the grass he's got in there. He's still running around in that world that is completely. It's like he's on the moon because Bitey's jump is so slow. He's like. Anyway. That's what I do while I'm compiling. I watch other people on Twitch while I'm on Twitch. It's kind of meta. Or I tell stories, but that's only if the compiling takes too damn long. Oh man. Well, let's make sure I can actually use this noise function from Blueprint Land now. Yeah, that's one of the big reasons to use Unreal, is you can actually go in here and do this sort of work and make it so you can do what you need to with your objects. And you just can't do that in Unity. So you'll see people just like write a whole bunch of garbage inside of Unity that if they could just change a couple little variables, then you know they could get it to work a little better. Alright, so we got our noise type. So let's get all these actually set up properly. Alright, so noise type. This is the type of noise to use. Scale. Alright, so this value should go from like, 0 to 1,000 or 0 to 200 or something. This is the scale to use for how big our noise is. And we're going to default this to like 2. Levels for quality. It's 1, 2, 3, or 4. So quality, this is how many passes we do. So default of 1, it can go from 1 to 4, and the value range is only 1 to 4 as well. Alright, so the min slider range I'm just going to do from like -1 to 1, and it's going to go from 0 to start with. So the minimum value written to the texture. Alright, so maximum, this will be the maximum value written to the texture. And this is going to go from -1 to 1 with a max of 1. I mean a default of 1. And the value range can be whatever. Turbulence. Turbulence will be if there is turbulence. And default to false. Tiling will default to true. if this noise texture tiles. Let's just say doesn't work for all noise types. Alright, repeat size. Let's see, slider range should go from like 32 to like 2048. Slider range 32 to 2048. Default size of 512. And this is how big the texture is before tiling. And I don't know what the hell that means. Alright, quality is different than levels. So this will be quality here, and this will be levels. We should move those next to each other. And so Adam's messing around with some of my stuff. So he's just messing around, watching Fat Sack float down the river. I mean, it just reminds me of like a lazy river where you got a whole bunch of alcoholics just floating around in a water park. And that seems like a pretty good plan. So there he goes. Yeah, Adam's spawning the infinite number of Fat Sacks. Watch them all float around. Anyway, I'll get back to doing other stuff like writing all this stuff in here. Alright, so we've got the levels. Alright, levels are going to have to be, this is how many noise levels. Alright, so how many noise levels there are. This should go from 1 to 8. So it goes 1 to 8. Value range should be from 1 to 8. Default of 3. Alright, you got turbulence, we got tile. Repeat size is done in level scale. Level scale is supposed to be what, 2? And I'm not exactly sure what the hell this is. I'll just say usually 2. I don't know what the hell it does, so it goes from 2 to 8. Okay. Alright, so now we're going to need to set our shader parameters on this thing inside of our construction script. So we'll see. Alright, so I need to actually pass all these shader parameter values here. So I'm going to want to start adding them. So we're going to grab the noise type, get the scale, get the levels, quality. Get the min, get the max, get the turbulence. Alright, so these are all scalar parameter values. We are going to set these on both, I guess is what we have to do. So what we're going to do is I'm going to make this into a function, and I'm going to call this set params for material. Paste this trash in here. The input for this function is going to be material, and it's going to be a material instance dynamic with a local variable of mat, which is a material instance dynamic. So the first thing we do is we set our local variable so we don't have arrows that go all over the hell of our place. And we'll just snag all this garbage and throw it in here. And then we can just do this. That way we don't have to copy paste everything. We can just kind of copy paste half of it. Alright, so we're going to hook all these things up one at a time. So it'll take a little bit. Just a lot of dragging nodes around. So not the most interesting thing on the planet, since we kind of already know what we're doing, which is we're just going to get this stuff set up so we can actually do stuff with it. Alright, so we'll save this. We need to convert an enum to integer. Alright, how do we do that? Cast enum to int blueprint Unreal. Integer to enum byte with strange cast row, get enum value as byte. We'll convert it to an int, then convert that to a float, and that's what we're going to do. Why not, right? That seems like a safe way to do things. Hopefully this converts the boolean to an int properly. Convert a boolean to an integer and then to a float. Yeah, this sounds like a great plan. Again. Alright, so we got all this compiled out, we got all this saved. Let's go to our construction script and let's call set params for material. And we'll snag our material instances. Just like that. So compile and save that. We've set everything, so now we can start naming things, I guess. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to set is the noise type. And this is going to be noise type. So let's name it. Cool. Excellent. Alright, so noise type is set in that we're going to want the scale in. So let's say noise scale. Alright, so we want turbulence. And this is going to be a parameter, and turbulence in, or noise turbulence. We'll set it to nothing. Alright, so then we need our levels. So this will be our constant. This will be noise levels. I guess the default value should be 1. Let's take a look. The default value is 3. Alright, default should be 3. Noise levels. Should be there. Alright, so we need the min in, so we need a constant here. Convert to parameter, this is going to be noise min value. And the min value will be 0 to start with. So let's go set that. This will be noise max value. Noise max value should be a default of 1. And then we'll need tiling, so this will be noise tiling. Alright, we need the repeat size, so constant, and we will convert that to a parameter. We'll say noise tiling, noise repeat size. default that to 512. And let's go set that. Alright, then we'll need the quality. So constant. Let's see, noise quality. And the quality should be 1 to start with. Alright, then we need the level scale in. Alright, so noise level scale. Hello, 1502 Random. How are you doing today? I am messing around with noise generation stuff in Unreal. So noise level scale should be 2. Alright, so noise quality, noise scale, noise type, noise repeat size, normal weight. Alright, so this is noise level scale. What's the name of this? Noise turbulence, noise tiling, noise min value, noise max value. Alright, so we need to do stuff. So you're wondering what I'm doing on my other screen, and I'm doing this. I guess I can't line these up vertically unless I left align them, so I'll left align them. I'm doing well. I'm just trying to get some noise and normal textures so we can generate noise, and we can then get normal maps for that noise and have it all nicely work inside of Unreal. And how we're doing that is making a material that we can use to create this stuff, and then we can then like hit a render button and it'll render this stuff out for us. I'm trying to save all this stuff out. It's kind of going a little slow. I'm kind of confused as to why it's so slow. I mean, it says it's running here. What's it doing? Unreal is supposedly running. It's got the windows open. It's got plenty of memory. Compiling shaders, maybe? Yeah, I've got a shader compiler worker that's doing stuff at the moment. That's probably what's going on. Okay, so there it goes. It does what it needed to. So this thing in here, we've got our generation stuff. Oh, what the fuck? Oh yeah, it's because we have this garbage stuff. We need the Voronoi. So yeah, so we could just now change these drop downs over here, and then we can change our stuff. So like, all right, what would this scale look like? And then we've got our texture ready to go. That's pretty cool. I like that. So what I want to do is, I probably want like this texture, this noise generator to actually give us a little bit of a preview of this object. So we slap one of these into the level, you can actually maybe see, you know, a mesh or something, like a little rectangle that's got these two textures assigned to it to draw. This is pretty cool. I like this. This is like we can pick our noise type, and then we can like see what it looks like. That's pretty baller. Because not only is it just a noise in there, like it's an Unreal 4 material, right? So we can make noise and normal map craft for whatever we want. That we can pass in, you know, Unreal 4 stuff to. So we could generate normal maps for, you know, anything that we've got going on. So we'll see how useful that is. The other thing is we might be able to make animated. We could actually have an animated texture here for this stuff, and we could generate the normals from that. So like, we could then have an animated normal map or an animated noise map. Which might work really, really well for stuff, because sometimes you can't actually move noise around very easily with like U's and V's and all that stuff. So we might be able to have an animated noise map, which would be non-directional. It would have interesting things and would allow us to hopefully do things otherwise impossible inside of our materials. I don't know how the hell I would use that. I think Adam would have a lot more ideas than I would. He's a little bit more savvy with the whole art thing. So let's throw some squares on this thing. And what are we gonna throw in here? I need a plane that I can use. So get a noise test plane here. Noise test plane. Oh, has Adam gone off to eat dinner? No? Is that what's going on? So we got this test plane here that I've got going on. The material that we slot in here, I just want like a simple material. So let's make a new simple material here. Let's call this one noise test preview material. Alright, good. Alright, so this is going to be an unlit surface that is opaque, so it'll have an emissive color. So we're going to do like a texture sample. Default texture is going to be nothing. I'm going to get the UV. Is it texture coordinate? Yeah. Alright, so we'll slap this thing in here. We will have a texture object parameter, and that's going to go into the emissive color for the object. Oh, don't tell me this piece of Unreal always crashes when I click the goddamn button to change the preview object to a plane. Ugh. Stupid Unreal. Well, welcome everybody from Adam's channel. You'll find me much more boring, more angry, and a lot less Australian. So, sorry about that. We just lost that material entirely. Let's make sure we didn't lose the noise generator itself. I think I saved all that garbage pretty well. Yep, looks like that worked just fine. Let's make a new material. This will be that noise test. Alright, we'll just call it noise generator preview mat. Less Australian. Yeah, get out of here. How dare you? How dare you not live in Australia, you person that is not either an indigenous person or a prisoner of the British Empire. Alright, so texture sample. Slot this in here, so we need our texture coordinates. We'll need our texture sample object, texture object parameter. Slot that in there. Alright, we're going to call this thing texture, because that's what we're going to call it. We're going to call it texture. That's our name for texture, is texture. Less angry. Alright, I guess maybe Adam has a different way of expressing his anger, and it might be more sarcastic and less profane. Alright, so this test noise plane, we're going to slap on this noise generator preview material and save that. And then what we can do is inside of our noise generator object, go to our viewport, we can add a static mesh. I'm going to change that to our noise test plane. So this will be the texture preview plane, and this will be the normal preview plane. I can't click on things like I want to. Alright, so we are also going to have to add some more variables here. We're going to have our normal preview material and our texture preview material. This will be a material instance dynamic, as will this. And this will allow us to override the texture inside of this thing. So so what we'll be able to do is get these preview planes. I think there's like get material or create dynamic material instance for this object, and we're going to want a variable which is our preview material right like that. I should probably chuck this at the beginning of this just because it's easy to forget that like once you start setting variables, we need to have them initialized first, just so I don't forget that they're maybe not initialized yet, and then we have just stuff that doesn't work for no real reason. Alright, so this is the texture preview plane. So let's go ahead and set our dynamic material properly. Alright, so we're going to want to set our textures here. So this is, what did I name it? Did I name it something simple like, you know, texture? Yeah, that's what I named it. Alright, so I want to get the output texture and the output texture normal. So for this guy, name it Hans just to mess with people, or Hans. Yeah, that's like when I made this thing that would take all the combat data that was in Flash inside of ActionScript 3 for Dragon Age Legends and converted it to Java for the servers. It was not compatible at all because the game was made without any like server authoritative code at all. Because they took like the engine from Dragon Age Journeys and threw it into Dragon Age Legends because, you know, there were only 2 people working on the project at the time. So this thing that converted all these values and numbers and all this garbage, I called it the transmoogler because I wanted people, if they ever touched it, to come ask me why the hell I called it the transmoogler. And I would say, because it transmoogles things. Also, don't touch that. Because they would inevitably break the hell out of it if they did anything, and it would not work, and then we'd have combat bugs and stuff would get all fucked up. So sometimes it's a good idea to name things really stupid crap, because then people come ask you about it, and then you can say, oh yeah, don't you looked at that thing, don't look at that thing. Yeah, no touch this transmoogle. It was Moogler, as in Moogles, like Final Fantasy. Not as in like Muggle or Moogle like the Empire. Alright, so we've set our texture parameters and all that sort of trash. Let's go to our preview, and that's what it looks like. And I probably should have a third plane or something else that's using like a thing, but like a normal map with like lighting on it. That might be cool. Why don't we do that? Just while we're in here, let's just do a lit preview plane. How come I can't select all three of these at once? Because reasons. Alright, cool, thank you. Alright, so we need a lit preview material. And we're going to need to make a new material for that. So let's do noise generator preview. So it'll be noise generator lit preview. That. Hello, Roy Compara. I am working on just some basic stuff at the moment. So we got our base color. We do all this. We're going to grab another texture object with our coordinates and everything else, and we'll shove it into our normals. So this will be normals. And we're going to set this to our normal texture. So that's what it should look like. So we'll go ahead and save that out. And we should be able to go to our create material instance dynamic on this thing. So let's go to our lit preview plane. We'll snag that. We'll create a dynamic material instance off of it. This should be noise generator lit preview material. We'll slot it in here and then set the textures for it properly in just a second. You'll let yourself out. Yeah, well, I don't know. Making stupid jokes and crap like that is just fine. We're not going to punish anybody because all my jokes are stupid, and I would have to punish myself. Alright, so we're going to need the texture and we're going to need the normal. Did I call it normal? I called it... That's not the right thing. I called it normal. So let's get rid of these and set our texture parameter values. Alright, cool. So we've got all this rolling along here, so we should have all of our preview planes, and they should get set to a lit version of the object, so we can see what our stuff's gonna look like. Awesome. So let's make sure we got that all saved out and everything, and then let's go see why the hell this isn't showing up in our world. Oh, it's just because it's really, really small. So 90 degrees, and let's make it like 10 by 10 by 10. The chat does not... I mean, you can always use the Kappa emote, right? Like, that's what it's there for. I mean, why would you ever do that? Alright, so this is what this object would look like with these noise parameters. So we can go change this, so we can say like the scale is 2, and then this is what it would look like lit in the world. We can do stuff like tile or not tile it. let's actually change these things real quick so that they're not perfect. I wanna see it tiling on this material. So let's just do our text coordinate and let's just say, like, you know, let's do it like that, so it tiles, and we'll force it to do what we want. Just to make sure that we can actually, you know, look at this stuff and make it work. I mean, is tiling even getting set? So we have noise tiling, it gets set to true or false. And what's the material? Tiling in, noise tiling. Well, I want to make sure it actually tiles, so if we're like moving this along a surface or something, that we have a very good idea about what it's actually doing. Man, this shader compiler takes forever. Yeah, I'm looking at my CPU graph because I've got this little LED display on the top of my monitor that shows how much CPU and RAM I'm using. It's at like 100% right now. And all those are going to be shader compiler workers. It's kind of how Unreal works. We got all these shader compilers running, doing their thing.